Some people don't slowly get angry, they snap. And if you're watching this, you might already be thinking, yes, that's me. People call you short-tempered. They say you're rude, sometimes ill-mannered. Some even label you as unsocial. From the outside, it looks like overreaction, impatience, a lack of self-control. But psychology tells a different story. Quick anger isn't always a flaw in character. Sometimes it's a signal that something deeper is happening inside. Maybe you feel things more intensely than others. Maybe you see that obvious part of an object that people ignore or can't see. Maybe your mind reacts fast because it's always processing more than it shows. Science may describe anger as a behavioral trait, but psychology asks why that behavior exists in the first place. And often, the reason isn't weakness, it's sensitivity, awareness, or emotional overload that has nowhere to go. My name is Natalie, and in this video, I want to explore the real psychological reasons why some people get angry so fast. If you've ever been called short-tempered, like I have, you're not alone. And if this feels familiar, consider subscribing and liking the video, and join this small group where we try to understand ourselves better. You don't get angry because you want to. You get angry because your body reacts before your mind has time to step in. For some people, the nervous system is always slightly on guard. Stress doesn't fully turn off. Pressure doesn't completely release. Even during ordinary moments, the body stays alert. In that state, the brain is constantly scanning, not for danger exactly, but for signals. A change in tone feels personal. A delay feels disrespectful. A small problem suddenly feels urgent. Anger becomes the fastest response available, not because it's the best one, but because it arrives first. When the nervous system is overloaded, it doesn't pause to analyze. It reacts. Anger creates a brief sense of control when everything else feels unpredictable. It pushes the world back, even if only for a moment. And here's something that often gets misunderstood. Many people who get angry quickly aren't aggressive by nature. They're overstimulated, mentally crowded, emotionally tired. Often this pattern forms early in life, when reacting fast felt safer than staying open, when being loud protected you more than staying calm. So the reaction became automatic. The truth most people miss is this: quick anger isn't about strength. It's about speed. And when speed replaces reflection, even small moments can start to feel like emergencies. What confuses most people is this: your reaction feels intense, but the trigger feels small. A delayed reply, a tone that feels slightly off, a comment that wasn't meant to hurt. And yet, something inside you snaps. Psychologically, this doesn't happen because you're overreacting. It happens because emotions don't disappear when they're ignored. They accumulate. When frustration, disappointment, and unspoken resentment aren't processed, they don't fade away. They settle into the body. They wait. So when a small moment happens, it isn't the real cause. It's the final weight added to an already full system. That's why people often say, "I don't even know why that set me off." But the truth is, it didn't. It unlocked everything that came before it. The brain doesn't measure fairness one moment at a time. It measures accumulation. And when your emotional space is already crowded, even something minor can feel unbearable. This is a shift most people miss. Quick anger doesn't mean you're dramatic. It means your emotional capacity has been exceeded. And when capacity runs out, the smallest spark can feel like a fire. For some people, anger wasn't just an emotion, it was a tool. At some point in their life, staying calm didn't work. Being quiet didn't protect them. Explaining themselves didn't change anything. But anger did. Psychologically, this is how anger becomes a defense mechanism. The mind learns through repetition. When a reaction creates distance, stops a threat, or finally gets attention, the brain remembers. Anger feels powerful because it once was. For many, this learning happens early, in families where emotions were ignored, in environments where boundaries were crossed, in moments where being gentle meant being overlooked. So anger stepped in, not to harm, but to shield. Over time, the body stops asking whether anger is necessary. It reacts automatically, before reflection, before choice. This is why anger can feel protective, even when it causes damage later. It signals strength. It creates control. It prevents vulnerability. But here's the quiet truth. What once protected you may no longer be protecting you now. Anger that was learned for survival doesn't disappear on its own. It waits, ready to activate. Because when you see anger as learned, you stop seeing it as who someone is and start seeing it as what they needed once to feel safe. Anger doesn't disappear because you try harder to control it. It softens when it's understood. When you begin to notice what actually sets you off, something subtle shifts. The reaction slows, not because the emotion is weaker, but because awareness arrives first. Psychologically, clarity creates space. Space between what happens and how you respond. Space where choice can exist. Instead of asking, "Why am I so angry?" the question quietly changes to, "What is this protecting right now?" And that pause changes everything. The nervous system slowly learns that not every moment requires defense. Not every tone is a threat. Not every frustration needs a reaction. This doesn't mean anger disappears. It means anger no longer leads. Over time, you start recognizing the early signals: tight shoulders, a racing mind, the urge to control the moment. And when those signals are noticed early, they can be met with restraint instead of impulse. Here's the quiet truth. Anger loses its power when it's no longer the fastest response available. Clarity doesn't erase the past, but it frees the present. And for many people, that moment of awareness is the first time anger feels like a choice, not a reflex.